Hello, everybody. Today is January 31st, last day of January, and it's Terry's turn to go talk about two topics. And so we're going to start now because I ran late. So here we go.
All right. Arnold, appreciate the opportunity to step in and kind of show a little bit of what I learned. I do appreciate everybody in the Skype group for all the help, and I know that I ask a lot of questions, but I am a beginner, and I think that there's a lot of people who are maybe just a little afraid to try some of this stuff, but it kind of scared me, but I finally jumped in and realized how simple it was once I jumped in. So what I was looking at was we were looking for a REST service to go resolve a zip code. Just simply get city-state back. You can get a lot more than that, especially with if you're using geo names or I know some of you guys have done the Google apps or Google Maps services, and so I found one that was free. This is GeoNames. They've got a handful of REST services that you can integrate with, just according to what you're wanting to do. There's the find nearby streets and addresses and stuff like that. And so I was just looking to do this very simple postal code search, and I wanted to do it in XML. And so I just did my first XML web services integration just a few weeks ago, and so this really intrigued me that everybody said it was pretty simple to do, so I wanted to try it. I made a sample app as I did it just so that I could share it, and so this is kind of what I ended up with. But this is the web pages and stuff, and we'll share those in the links. I'll give all this stuff to Arnold. But what I ended up with was I just wanted a real simple screen, like you see here. And it's just, you can send country code and postal code. Definitely want to do that if you're just doing US lookups. And I wanted to just automate it on screen very simply. And so as you tabbed out, or if you wanted to do the lookup, if you tab through the postal code, it automatically does the lookup and fill everything in for you. I had no clue where to start, so I just kind of dug in and asked a few questions, and it turned out to be really simple. I made an actual lookup window so I could play around with the actual code to see what the XML returns were. And so from here you can just play around with searching different zip codes, and you see they return different results. And I am a Sparta boy, so there you go. And so show you a little bit of the code that I used. All the code in this lookup is actually calling the geo named city-state zip window with nothing more than just a structure of what I want to look up. And I basically said, hey, I don't want you to show the window if you don't have to. And that way, if you do give it a zip code that will result in multiple, then it will pop the window automatically. Otherwise, it looks it up, returns it, and you're off and running. So I'm going to go to that window, show you what that looks like. That's this one. As it comes in, it basically just looks to see in the initialization kind of what, if you didn't feed it a zip code, it actually will open the window and select the city-state zip. I'm sorry, the postal code. Otherwise, it just processes the lookup, and I've got just a procedure here called GeoName city-state zip, and that's really where all the code is at. Everything else that you're seeing is just window handling, just the gold plating of the interface, and that's all. And so in here, I clear my array for the browse. I build the stack search text. That's not a big deal. That's just clean up some stuff. And then there's your URL to go get the actual, hit the service and actually get the data back. So I do a HTTP request. I return the results. And you'll see here I've actually embedded the just basically what the service can do and these are the parameters you can send it. So you can tell it I only want so many rows back, or you can include the country code, which I do use the country code on that. I've also included an example of what comes back. One of the things I really struggled with, and it's just my lack of knowledge on how to handle XML, was I kept getting this row in my array. I know how to get down to this level, but I don't know how to basically skip these, and I learned how to do that in this process also. And so if I don't return anything, I basically just skip. Otherwise, I just fall into this exception, and basically I loop through the XML. This is the part that I learned. I knew that I was looking for the code node, but I didn't realize that if you don't put on code, and that is case sensitive, that you end up with everything from that in that section at all. So once I added that, I pretty much got a real clean loop through it, and I just stick that in my array, and that's pretty simple. It to fetch the actual XML was 6 lines of code when I first wrote it, and it kind of turned into this as I prettied it up and made my table displays and did my error handling and walked through the whole process of just making the screens very clean and very interactive with the end user. Okay, so I'll show you one of the ones that this will actually cause a multiple when I do this, and so it'll pop out. Have no idea what some of the stuff is that you get back from these. I didn't clear that, but that's basically what it's executing, and you can play around with these, and you'll see different data coming back. I mean, there's all kinds of things once you go international and begin to look up other zip codes in other countries. Any questions?
Terry, I don't understand this one. So you got a postal code of 3. Is that something that says it's like it's included or contains? Is that why it's pulling those cities?
Yeah, basically, if you leave out the country code, and you can actually they have a service for country codes too if you want to look them up. But if you don't include the country code, it goes and gets all countries. And so if you put that back in, um, it goes back down to just the U.S. And of course, for the most part, U.S. it's 1-to-1. You'll never get multiple. So, well, at least to my knowledge, it is. I'm not very knowledgeable about zip codes, but so far I haven't really seen too many examples of multiple. It's really you'll get the same city for multiple the same for multiple zip codes, but vice versa. I don't think it plays out that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't realize that postal codes like that one was part of other countries, so that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I'm not like I said, I'm not an expert, but
Yeah, I guess
playing
if you
around with
showed
it,
I guess if you showed the postal code in a column there, we could have seen what it
true. Yeah,
what it was finding, why it was finding that. Okay.
yeah. But really, I mean, it's a pretty simple exercise. It opened up the door to REST services for me. I think that there's a lot of people that I mean that there's millions of REST services out there that we can access and get good data from. In the case of these are free, but they do have limitations. So, it might be something where you want to build your own local cache of that information and pull it off. But really, for the most part, you can go out and get all kinds of, especially mapping, latitude, longitude data, that kind of thing. So I think it's a use. To me, it just kind of opened the door up to say um, that I shouldn't be scared about getting into that. And I think that's the cool part about WinDev code is once you try something, you realize how really simple it is. It's just the idea of going and trying it sometimes kind of goes, man, that might be end up being a big project. And I'm trying to prove to even my guys here that hey, you can do things so simply if you just look at the functionality that's built into WinDev. And it's not stuff you're going to have to write like we did for a lot of parts in Clarion. We had to write a lot of this stuff to figure out how to get there. They've written that. You've got the FTP wrappers, you've got the HTTP post wrappers, you've got all that stuff. You just can use them. So. that's it in a nutshell. We can share this. This is example code. I'll disconnect
Okay,
from my SCM and reshare it. I shared it earlier and forgot to take the SCM connection out of it. So I'll re-export that and I'll get Arnold a link to share with that if you're interested in playing around with it.
okay, cool. Nice
Yeah,
sharing. So
super,
are you gonna
super
put
simple.
that to? Are you gonna put rest to rest now?
Yes, I'm putting rest to rest now. I'm convinced I can do it. It's I did my first like I said, my first XML web services not too long ago, and I was just blown away by what you could do. And this is something we've been wanting to do for a long time. And we have a web team in another state that we work with a lot, and they house a lot of data that we have trouble getting to with Clarion. And so this opens the door for us to just jump out, use WinDev, and grab some of that data and bring it back into our applications and really enrich the user experience for our guys. So it's exciting for me. I know it's a simple example, guys. I know you're probably thinking, well, that's just stupid, but man, it really it made me get some confidence behind the idea that I can integrate with a whole bunch of different services to pre-fill data for our end users and make their jobs 100 times easier when entering data.
God, nothing like getting to data.
Yes. Yeah, we actually have a
Power.
part. We have a parts database or a tire database. Of course, we're in the tire business, and so that's one of the ones I've been trying to get to. And this simplifies that tenfold. I can say, hey, here's the part numbers that you're looking for. If you want to import that into your database, here they are. And so that really makes that jump be huge. And so yeah, it's been really cool. It's been really cool. And
Nicely done. Yeah.
thank you.
So are you gonna talk about this Stack Overflow thing?
Yeah, I can absolutely.
Yeah,
The
tell us what got you going on this and why and how we're gonna do it.
Well, it really spawned from several conversations that both me and Andy have had, Andy Stapleton, and just trying to build a better community. And so I know some of the people are like, is it the right thing? I don't know. I really do like Stack Overflow. I think Stack Overflow has when you start looking for maybe a technical answer that or a technique that you're trying to figure out why doesn't this work. When you go to their website, you have all these questions and the answers. You may have 5 answers, but if one of the answers has 10 votes on it and the rest of them don't have any, the experts who have come back and read the answers said, hey, that's the right way to do it. They've weighed in on the question, and that answer has climbed to the top. I
And then
think,
you can close it off, right? Once you get the answer, you can close it
yeah, I
off, right?
mean, at this point, that seems to be the right answer. And so,
Yeah.
what I'm always looking for is, I ask a question, and I'd like to see a few people weigh in on it. I want to see some different opinions, not just one. Um, Even though maybe one of them's a better answer than the others, but it's really cool to be able to see other people weigh in on that answer. And so both with the Skype chat that we have, they do have some forums. PCSoft has some forums. They're not great, and I really like the layout of Stack Overflow. And I just really got to think about it. So I started doing some research, and you can't really even purchase that kind of a website um, based on Stack Exchange, which is actually who makes these sites. And so you go to Area 51 and you basically submit a proposal and you say, these people or this topic needs a site like this. Believe me, I had no idea it was going to be this kind of progression, but I read into it and I was like, okay, hey, it's worth a try. And
Good
so
job.
we posted the site. We got past the first stage almost the first day, which was kind of cool because that really comes back to the Skype group. Several of the guys jumped in, posted a few questions, got past the first stage. We're in the definition stage now, which means they want to see questions that would be examples of what people would post on this type of a forum. We do need 51 followers to go to the next level, which is kind of the commitment stage for them. We also need 40 questions which have scored more than 10 points or 10 votes. And so it's going to take community interaction if we want this. If we don't, that's okay. You're not hurting my feelings. I use a Skype chat a lot, but I would like to have a repository of those answered questions. We actually, I think even me and you discussed when we were out in, where were we at? St. Louis. Yeah. About trying to take some of that content and moving it to the WXLive website.
Right.
Which
This is a
means,
better way right there.
well, it means somebody has to, somebody has to sift through the data to build that. And this
Yep.
kind of takes that into community and let the community build it. And so, I don't know, maybe their forums are better
Hey,
with the
I have an
PCSoft.
idea. We go through the Skype, go get some of the best questions that we have, put
Yeah.
them in here.
Well, that's what I've done, but a user can only put in 5 questions. So there is limitations to
Oh,
one person pushing it from one phase to the next. So I've already put my 5 in, and I've already voted my 5 questions. So, a couple of my guys here have done it, or one of my guys here has done it, and then I know, I think even Andy said he signed up, and I think Chris is on there. So we got a handful of people that are jumped in and just kind of trying to learn. And I even got some tips from, I think it was Ramon or somebody, that we needed to go back and cap WinDev.
whoa,
Whoa.
that's somebody. Okay, go ahead.
And so I did that because what they're thinking is WinDev is Windows development. That's not what it is. It's WinDev for PCSoft or WebDev for I think it's one site for all products in general, which is a little hard to probably sift through. But searches work good, so you shouldn't have that kind of problem. But it's just one more way we can build more U.S. community or even international community to bring the answers to the right places.
All right. Anybody have any comments or suggestions or applause?
Note, Terry.
Yes,
I'm just not sure whether you saw Jerome's message in the Skype chat.
I did, and I corrected it.
Yeah, I'd probably flip the PCSoft and WinDev, so PCSoft is first.
Well, it may be a little late for that.
Okay. If it is,
But I can suggest it. I can't actually physically change it anymore. But I can suggest that they change the name. I think to because one of the guys says, well, it's a duplicate of Stack Overflow. That's not true from the standpoint of what I would see it being. I would see it being exactly what more like our Skype chat is. It's a resource for PCSoft developers,
right,
and I think that's the same thing you're thinking.
right. No, I agree with the premise of where it's going. It's getting the involvement to get it past the stages that they're looking for. And the problem is, and one question I would dearly love to ask the guys for the site here is that once you're past that level, are you still limited to 5 questions?
No, you're not. Because we're in definition stage. The site is more or less. The idea is, Andy, that they want a definition of what this site would be. And so there's really not, I mean, it's really not a functioning site at any level. It's more about show us what you would ask. Show us what kind of content would be posted here so we can determine whether or not this is a viable community to build. That's kind of the idea of it.
Okay. Is it possible to embed this into other sites?
I haven't actually looked to see if they've got an API. That might be interesting.
Well, the reason why I get behind that is because with WXLive, we got, in essence, our one-stop shopping center to a point. And one of the things that I try to avoid is having 5 different pages up looking for something.
Exactly.
I'd like to be able to go to 1 or 2 places and be able to either look or point somebody to it.
Yeah. I'll do a little bit more looking on it. Like I said, it may not float. It may never make it. Many of the sites take over a year to get to basically the release stage.
Yeah.
That's a long time, but you kind of have to prove that there's a following for the topic. And I agree with you. PCSoft being first on the topic might help it quite a bit. In fact, I wish I'd never put WinDev in the title. Honestly, I'm a WinDev programmer, unfortunately. Do what, Andy?
I say you may email them or ask them, and they may flip it for you.
Yeah. But interesting concept. I don't know. We'll see if it flies or not. I still like. I'll never leave the Skype group unless Andy closes it.
I got no plans for doing that anytime soon.
I hear you.
But taking some of the questions out of that Skype group and putting it here could
I
it up.
agree wholeheartedly with that. Arnold, I thoroughly agree with it. I'm going to leave my 5 open, so if somebody got a 6th or a 7th and they need it, I'll post it for them. Or I can go back through, I've got the last year's worth of, I believe, information from the Skype group. So I can go back through it and try to pull out some of the major questions. But that'll run my 5 pretty quick.
Another question Andy asked me the other day was about RSS feed, and it does provide RSS feed, which is
cool.
That's actually a good feature, and it's a really up-to-date site as far as the feature list. And I'm actually using the exact same RSS feed off the proposal just to run it through the WinDev Geeks feeds. And so if anybody doesn't know what those are, we've got like a Twitter account, and you can actually see this is the WX stack coming through, and so it posts the questions that people are asked there, and basically the same thing on Facebook as they come through. So, it's just trying to get content out for the WinDev group or the PCSoft developers, I think is really the idea.
Up there on the top where it says chat, discuss, fact, does that apply to us on this group?
No, that is the Area 51 chat. Basically discussing these sites, how they work, and stuff like that.
Okay, so our stuff is just down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, yeah.
All right. Yeah, share those questions, Andy. Maybe we'll throw them in.
Here's an example of one of the live sites. And really, I'm with Andy. One of the concerns we had was ads, that kind of thing. And really, they don't really put a whole lot of ads.
No, it's not bad. I thought it'd be worse. I thought it'd be all over the place. Something, with an Area 51 there, it kind of makes you think that, oh, okay.
Exactly. But, you see basically the look and feel is pretty clean. Yeah. Plus, they have a really, really nice Android app. I've actually been using it and reading it at night, and so it's a nice app.
The Area 51 does?
Stack Exchange. That's the company yeah, that's basically Area 51 is the staging area, and Stack Exchange is the company that's doing all the sites.
I got you. Stack Exchange is what we're talking.
Okay.
Stack Exchange, and then there's Stack Overflow is
one of their sites. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and really, the app looks similar to this, where you can say, "Show me all the sites," and you can go out there and there's one for programming, there's one for Stack Overflow, there's and so it would basically become PCSoft would become one of these in the list. Would be the goal. Okay. Thank you, Arnold. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem. So let's wrap it up. And sorry we got a late start, but you got it done.
No problem.
Thanks so much, everybody, and have a great weekend. Unless you guys have any questions for Mr. Terry.
Terry, be good or be good at it.
There you go.
You too, brother.
Way to end it, Andy.